In a bustling Abuja restaurant, an elderly, barefoot woman named Teresa humbly asked for leftover food, only to be met with the manager's cruel mockery. As laughter and whispers filled the air, a stranger named Jasmine stood up, her heart stirred by a familiar necklace around Teresa's neck. What secrets did this old, worn pendant hold? Why did it spark a moment that silenced the room and changed lives forever? Dive into this emotional tale of compassion, redemption, and a promise kept against all odds. An elderly, famished, and shoeless woman merely requested some leftover food, but the restaurant manager's shocking response stunned everyone. Then, a stranger rose, and from that instant, an unexpected event unfolded. Who was this impoverished elderly woman, and why did her necklace alter everything? Settle in as we explore this heartfelt tale. Music. This incident occurred on a tranquil Monday afternoon at a renowned eatery in Abuja named Haven Restaurant. The atmosphere was serene, with gentle music playing and the aroma of savory dishes wafting through the air. Servers glided between tables, attending to patrons. Smartly dressed men and women dined and conversed at their tables. Everything appeared ordinary, calm, and pristine. Yet, an event was about to shift the ambience entirely. This was the day a modest plea would reopen old wounds. This was the day a stranger's entrance would make others reflect on their actions with shame. That afternoon, the restaurant's front door opened gradually. Initially, no one noticed, but soon, heads turned. An elderly woman had entered. Her name was Teresa. Her wrapper was worn, her blouse torn at the shoulder, her legs dusty, and she wore no shoes. She clutched a small black plastic bag to her chest, as if it were precious. She resembled someone's grandmother. Her posture was stooped, her eyes weary, her skin parched, and her hands trembled as she moved. She took a step, then another, pausing briefly to rest. A waiter near the counter whispered to a colleague, "Who let this woman in?" "I'm not sure," the other waiter replied. "Perhaps she's here to beg." Teresa proceeded slowly and quietly toward the counter, avoiding eye contact. A woman at a corner table raised her brows. "What's this?" she murmured to her husband. "How could they let this elderly woman into this restaurant?" Teresa continued until she reached the front desk, standing before a tall man behind the counter. His name was Mr. Apollo, the restaurant manager. He wore a crisp white shirt and blue trousers, arms crossed, expression stern. Teresa looked up and said softly, "Please, sir, I apologize for the disturbance. I haven't eaten since yesterday. I'm not asking for much, just any leftovers would help." Silence fell. A nearby customer turned to look. A young man chuckled softly. Another raised their phone to record. Teresa stood firm, not blinking or crying. Her dignity and hope were all she had left. But what followed was unexpected. Apollo, the manager, scanned the elderly woman from head to toe. He didn't smile, offer a seat, or ask her name. Instead, he laughed, a harsh, prideful laugh. He leaned forward and said loudly, "Old woman, are you lost? This is a restaurant, not a garbage dump." Teresa remained still, lips parting, but no words emerged. Apollo glanced around, eager for others to hear. He raised his voice, "We don't serve food to people like you. Beg outside." A nearby waiter stifled a laugh. Another whispered. Teresa spoke slowly. "I didn't mean to cause trouble. I just hoped for any scraps, even bones." Apollo waved dismissively, as if shooing a pest. "Leave, Mama, before you drive away my customers." Teresa stared at the floor, legs weak, stomach churning, yet she didn't budge. Gradually, others in the restaurant took notice. A young couple stopped eating. A woman feeding her child paused and looked up. A brief silence ensued. Then, from a table near the kitchen, a young man laughed. This old woman came to beg at Haven. Some chuckled, others didn't. One woman gazed at Teresa with sympathy, touching her chest and whispering to her husband, "She's old and hungry. Look at her legs." But Apollo persisted, saying, "Mama, this isn't a charity. You don't belong here. Leave now." Teresa didn't respond or argue. Her gaze remained downward, hands clutching her plastic bag tightly. Her heart was heavy, but her feet stayed rooted. In a distant corner, a woman sat alone, dressed in an elegant gold gown. Her brown heels gleamed, her nails painted pale pink. She had a composed demeanor and keen eyes. Her name was Jasmine, a doctor recently returned from abroad. It was her first week back in Nigeria, on a month-long leave to relax and visit family. She had come to Agrikhaven for a simple meal, but her food sat untouched. Her eyes were fixed on the elderly woman at the counter. She had witnessed everything. How Teresa entered, how Apollo mocked her, how others treated her as insignificant. Jasmine felt a heaviness in her chest. Something about Teresa, her voice, slow steps, gentle eyes, felt familiar. Jasmine leaned forward, her gaze tracing Teresa's face, then her hands, until something caught her eye. A necklace, old and worn, with a thin chain and a dull, nearly black pendant. Jasmine recognized it. She had seen it before. She looked closer, pulled out her phone, and discreetly zoomed in. It was indeed the necklace her high school best friend, Rosalind, used to wear. They were like sisters, sharing meals, studies, and tears. Her hands trembled slightly. She whispered, "Was this old woman wearing Rosalind's necklace?" She set her phone down and stared again. Was this woman connected to Rosalind? Could she be the one I've been searching for? Questions flooded her, but one thing was certain. Jasmine couldn't stay seated. Her heart weighed heavy, hands gripping her purse. She stood quietly, pushed her chair back, and walked toward the counter. Her heels clicked, drawing a few glances. Teresa stood there, silent and exhausted, clutching her plastic bag like a shield. Apollo stood smug, arms crossed. His smirk vanished when Jasmine appeared beside the elderly woman. She faced him calmly, voice clear. "Did you just insult this woman for being hungry?" Apollo blinked, then scowled. "Madam, don't start drama. She's here to beg. This isn't a charity." Jasmine's eyes narrowed. "So that makes it okay to treat her like garbage?" She turned to the restaurant's patrons. Some averted their eyes, others pretended to eat, but many watched. She raised her voice slightly. "Is this how we treat our elders now? Is this what we've become?" Apollo tried to interject, but Jasmine cut him off. "If she were your mother, would you want her humiliated like this?" The room grew still. A young woman at a table whispered loudly, "This is too much." She could be anyone's mother. An older man in a white agbada nodded, saying, "True. We've lost respect." Apollo felt the pressure. The laughter quieted, proud expressions softened, and he was speechless. Jasmine turned to Teresa, her eyes now gentle, voice soft. She spoke deliberately. "This woman isn't a beggar. She's someone's mother, wife, someone who gave everything once." The room was silent. Teresa looked at Jasmine, eyes blinking slowly, uncertain. Apollo rolled his eyes. "Madam, don't cause trouble here. We're running a business." Jasmine didn't glance at him. Her voice remained calm, but firm. "Keep talking, Mr. Manager. I know this restaurant's owner personally." She paused, then added sharply, "One more word, and you'll be jobless by tomorrow." Apollo fell silent, glancing around. Too many eyes were on him, too many phones recording. Jasmine knelt slightly, gently touching Teresa's hand. "Mama," she said softly, "you'll eat with me today? Let's sit." Teresa's lips quivered, but she said nothing. Jasmine squeezed her hand, smiling gently. "Come, you're not alone anymore." They walked to a side table, but Jasmine's gaze lingered on the necklace, a key to a hidden past. The restaurant grew hushed. No more laughter or whispers, just a faint clink of plates and distant music. Jasmine guided Teresa to a window table. A nervous waiter brought a tray with fried rice, chicken, coleslaw, and plantain for Teresa, along with a cold water bottle. Teresa stared at the food, hands trembling, eyes wide. "Is this for me?" she asked softly. Jasmine nodded with a smile. "Yes, Mama. Eat slowly. You're safe." Teresa took the spoon with shaky fingers, tasting the food. Tears fell silently. She set the spoon down and looked at Jasmine. "You're a kind woman, my daughter," she said with a faint smile. "God bless you. I was so hungry." Jasmine held her hand gently across the table. No need to thank me, Mama. You've endured enough. As Teresa ate, Jasmine's eyes returned to the necklace. She leaned in, speaking cautiously. Mama, I don't mean to bother you, but where did you get that necklace? I knew someone who wore one like it long ago. Teresa paused, spoon in hand, no longer eating. Her eyes fell to the necklace, touching it gently, as if it held her past. Her voice was soft. It was my daughter's, she said. Her name was Rosalind. She gave it to me before she passed. Jasmine leaned closer, voice soft but earnest. Rosalind? What was her last name? Teresa looked up, lips trembling. Massimo, she said. Rosalind Massimo, my only child, my joy. A sickness took her. Jasmine froze. She quickly reached into her bag, rummaging through papers, and pulled out an old, faded photo with torn edges but clear faces. Holding it with both hands, she said to Teresa, Mama, please look at this, her voice trembling slightly. Teresa took the photo slowly, staring at the smiling young woman wearing the same necklace. Her hand shook, lips parted, but no words came at first. Then softly she said this is my Rosalind, she wept. Looking at Jasmine, you knew her? You were with her. Jasmine's voice broke, tears welling. Yes, she was my best friend, my closest friend. We met in school, stayed close. She shared her illness with me. She wiped her tears, continuing. One day, her number stopped working. I tried, but I couldn't reach her. I feared the worst. Her voice softened. She spoke of you, your strength, how much she loved you. She gave me this photo, asking me to find you someday. Teresa cried, clutching the photo to her chest. Jasmine went on. I couldn't return to Nigeria until now, but I was determined to find you. Someone near your old home said you'd moved, but didn't know where. Teresa wiped her face with her wrapper's edge. I left because I was too old, she said. I couldn't work or pay rent, so I left. Both wept now. Jasmine held Teresa's hand tightly, heedless of onlookers. The moment was profound, raw, powerful, two hearts mending in a bustling restaurant. Days later, Teresa's life transformed. Jasmine went beyond providing food. She purchased a beautiful new house near her own in Abuja, painted soft cream with clean rooms and new furniture. One quiet morning, Jasmine took Teresa's hand. Mama, this is your home now. Teresa stood at the door, stunned, mouth agape. Tears filled her eyes. This for me? She asked, lips trembling. Jasmine smiled. Yes, Mama, you deserve it. This is just the start. Jasmine went further, hiring a kind young woman, Peace, to cook and clean for Teresa, giving her a room in the house, so Teresa was never alone. She also arranged for Teresa to visit a private hospital for full medical tests, providing new glasses, medication, and a weekly doctor's visit. Jasmine set up a monthly stipend for Teresa's needs, food, clothes, everything. Teresa no longer begged, walked barefoot, or went hungry. She had a soft bed, clean clothes, warm meals, and caring people around her. One evening, in her new living room, a breeze drifted through the window, the lights softly illuminating her face. Teresa held Jasmine's hands. My daughter, may the Lord bless you. May he protect you when no one else can. May you never want. May your children never suffer. May goodness follow you always. Jasmine bowed her head. Amen, Mama. Amen with all my heart. That day, a shattered woman was restored, and a promise made years ago by Rosalind was fulfilled. Since moving in, Jasmine never stopped visiting, bringing fruits, meals, or just conversation. She introduced Teresa to her husband and children abroad via video calls. They waved, calling her Grandma Teresa, making her laugh and her heart full. One peaceful evening, alone in the compound, Jasmine said softly, Mama, there's something I haven't shared. It's time you knew. Teresa nodded gently. Jasmine took a deep breath. I'm an orphan, Mama. I lost my parents young. She paused, then continued. In secondary school, life was tough. I did odd jobs, washing clothes, cleaning shops, selling groundnuts, to pay fees and eat. Teresa listened intently, eyes calm. When I couldn't manage, Jasmine said, voice shaking, your daughter, Rosalind, always helped. She wiped a tear, smiling faintly. She gave me money, food, books without me asking. She never belittled me. She was like a sister, my only family. Jasmine paused, the breeze soft between them. Then, she said, Mama, Rosalind helped me go abroad. Teresa blinked, stunned. Jasmine continued, I got a scholarship abroad, but couldn't afford the ticket. I told Rosalind it was impossible. She was thrilled, saying God wouldn't give you a scholarship without a plan to get you there. She told me to trust God's path. Teresa's hand pressed her chest. Jasmine went on. A week later, she came to me, beaming. Her late father's gratuity had been paid. She used it for my passport, visa, ticket, everything. Jasmine's eyes teared up. Mama, all I am today is because of your daughter. Teresa wept silently, deeply, unable to speak, her heart full. Jasmine held her hand. I can't replace your daughter, but know this. As long as I live, you'll never lack. You're not alone, Mama. I'm here. Teresa squeezed her hand, whispering, thank you. They sat, hearts bound by Rosalind's memory, a story time couldn't erase. 3 weeks after Teresa's humiliation at Agrikaven, the incident lingered in many minds. A young woman, Janny, who was eating with her sister near the door, saw Apollo mock the hungry elderly woman cruelly. She saw Jasmine defend her, changing everything. Unable to sleep, Janny wrote the story, detailing Apollo's taunts and Jasmine's honor. She posted it online, titled, 3 weeks ago in an Abuja restaurant, my heart broke. She omitted the restaurant's name, but commenters didn't. Within 3 days, the post had over 10,000 shares. People were outraged, asking, who's this manager mocking a hungry elder? Why is he still employed? By day 5, the owner, Madame Stella, got a message from her daughter abroad. Mommy, your manager's trending badly. Reading the post, Stella's hands shook with shame. Her restaurant, known for elegance and care, was now labeled as disrespectful to elders and the poor. She called the restaurant. Tell Apollo he's done, she told her supervisor. Pack his things. He's finished. The next day, Apollo arrived with his usual swagger, but his name tag was gone, his locker empty. A white envelope bore his name with a note. You no longer work here. Management. He stood silent, shocked. No one sympathized. His actions were exposed, and consequences followed. Life can shift in a moment, for better or worse. Teresa entered with an empty stomach and no help, but left with a full heart and new family. This story reminds us, never judge someone by their state. You don't know their past, their story, or what God has planned. Today, the mocked elderly woman lives in peace, joy, and comfort. The man who mocked her lost his job due to pride and cruelty. What lesson did this teach you? Share your thoughts below. Another moving story is coming soon, so subscribe and turn on notifications to catch it first. If you like this, hit the like button and share with loved ones. Thank you for watching. God bless you always.